Right, it's almost there. Blessings and greetings and blessings. Blessed soul. This is Don Zusya Goodman. This is part 2 of Don Zusya Goodman with live Bob Marley Tough Gang Studios recording artist, reggae recording artist, Superior, Joseph Israel, and we're vibing out now on nutrition, health habits. As I mentioned in part 1, Joseph and his wife of valor, Christina, have been faithful fitness and health advisors to me. And again, as I mentioned before in the first video, I haven't followed everything, but when I do follow their advice, I find there's an upgrade in my health. And I hope the Almighty will bless me to continue going in that way of following their good nutritional advice. And I'd like them to share more of their, or Joseph's insight. Maybe in a future video, we'll also have his blessed wife of valor on. But now it's just Joseph and I jamming. So Joseph, I'd like to pick up on the idea that one of the virtues as well with the hemp plant is that we see, unfortunately, and I was watching some videos and doing some research today before we met today on the telephone, that when pesticides are introduced into the soil, they deplete the soil. And not only that, people think that, well, if you wash off the skin of an apple, you peel off the peel of an orange, you have no problems with the pesticides. Unfortunately, pesticides penetrate not just through the skin of an apple, but through what would seem to be a very thick peel of the orange. But with hemp protein, hemp plants, there's very little need, if any need, to use any pesticides. Therefore, it's a naturally, organically growing foodstuff for the planet. Please elaborate.
Yes, I mean, it really doesn't need any pesticides, and that's why it's one of the best crops to grow. Almost every part of the hemp plant can be used, and so it can be used for almost everything that you could think of. And the thing that's going on, I mean, yes, the fruit that's sprayed, with the pesticides is horrible. And I mean, you think about all the restaurants and all the food that people are getting in the mainstream grocery stores and all these things is loaded with pesticides, but they go home and they're trying to get a healthy orange and they're getting something that's unhealthy. It's not ripe, and then it's loaded with pesticides. But even worse than that is I'm just looking up here in this book and it says already 15,000 lakes in the United States are contaminated so that nothing can live in them because of the groundwater from the agricultural runoff of pesticides and herbicides and these unnatural, unorganic fertilizers. People trying to grow cotton and tobacco and other things. And hemp is what we need. Cotton is fine, but cotton is a hard plant to grow. Hemp grows prolific and it's very renewable and good. And so it's one of the best things that we can have. And so here we see that people growing these crops and they're having to spray it with stuff. They're not thinking 10 years down the road. They're not thinking about what it's doing to their body, and they're not thinking about the world that they're leaving for their grandchildren, the children. And I mean, this has been happening for 100 years now almost. They've been polluting the earth, and so now we have, in this country alone, 15 lakes that nothing can live in them. Those are once amazing places where people could get fish, and there was other, a whole ecosystems and habitats, that lived there, and now they're gone. And so man is destroying the earth. And, why is this happening? Because man is sold out. They're going for money and the corporations, and they're willing to sacrifice the environment and the human quality of life for these, for their pocketbook. And well, hemp, we could be using, and it will be, if we grow it, it'll be inexpensive. It wouldn't have as much overhead, and you can rotate it in with the wheat and with the clover and with the potatoes and the barley and the oats and the peas and the beans and the corn. You can actually do a rotation. And the thing is, is that the hemp plant sends nutrients and makes the soil better.
Wow, really?
And you bring in the cotton the next year where the hemp was, and the cotton will grow great. So if you plant cotton 2 years in a row in the same spot, then the first year is decent, the next year is horrible because cotton depletes the soil. So then they have to spray fertilizer on it, and then that just increases the problem. And so because the governments have decided that this one plant is illegal and they shouldn't farm it, even though it was actually mandatory for every American to grow it in the 13 colonies, had to grow hemp.
That's what
America wouldn't even have existed if they didn't grow hemp. But now, because of the commercial interest of the cotton farmers, and we know where that goes back to slavery, tobacco farmers, which is causing cancer and so much problem in people today. They've polluted the soil and they won't use the hemp that could rejuvenate the soil and they wouldn't have to use pesticides. You could still grow those plants, but you wouldn't need to grow them in such a manner. And so, there's so many ways that the hemp can save us. It's for commercial, for medicinal, for clothes, for rope. I mean, all the ancient ships were sailing with hemp sails. This is how the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence was written on hemp.
That's right. That's right. But what I just clarify for me this, Joseph. So you're saying that the growing of hemp does not deplete the soil; it can enrich the soil.
It actually improves the soil. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it's meant to be. Some things give, some things take, and that's the way life is. And you use the plants together, and you end up having a beautiful, well-rounded garden. And every year you can have some cotton, some hemp, some corn. We'll see corn also depletes the soil.
Mm-hmm.
But is corn bad? No, corn is great. But you just have to rotate it. So that's the way it's meant to be. And that's how people live for 5,000 years without pesticide and fertilizer that is chemical based.
True. I just want to bring up a point. I read a letter by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Nachum Schneerson, direct descendant of Kings David and Solomon, who wrote in 1968 that he was very wary. There was an idea, believe it or not, Joseph, in 1968, someone came with an idea of running electrical current through the earth to sort of enrich the soil somehow. So the Rebbe asked a question, why would they come up with this type of idea when for thousands of years already mankind has lived with prolific produce upon the land? Why would you need to introduce electric currents into the soil? So he kind of like poo-pooed the idea. I mean, listen, this I heard last week that there's been such a prolific amount of snow and rain. I mean, Fort Worth, Texas, in the last couple weeks got bombed out with snow, that there's enough rain right now to actually ensure, at least hopefully for the next year plus, that there should be no drought in America. Yet so with all the plans and machinations of man to ruin things, the Most High is sending the waters from above to cleanse the earth and to give enough water that the people should have drink, enough to water the crop. So we see, but are people recognizing, Joseph, that the Most High is coming to foil the plans of the greedy and the few who wish to destroy the land? Your comments on that?
Yes, the greedy and the selfish are destroying the earth, and that's the Most High loves the earth. He created the earth, He created the plants, He created everything, and so what's going on today is you have these leaders who are bought out by corporations, and they call themselves politicians, congressmen, and these things, and they don't have the interest of the planet, but yet they're going out and saying they're getting green energy or eco-friendly. Well, it's really a front, just like all the things they do. It's not real, and the private enterprise is behind it all. And so the Most High, our Father, who is a God of love and justice and wisdom and power, He's gonna save the human race, and He's gonna save the planet Earth.
That's right.
This is, and the only way that we can be a part of that part that is spared and is given the deliverance is by seeking the truth and keeping and wanting to learn to live with creation and how creation works, because there's a cycle. Every year it rotates in a cycle, and if we cycle our plants properly, and even as we learn about the Shabbat year, where you take the year off to let all the farmland rest, we're going to be provided for. But people want to eat so much, they want to overdo everything, especially in this country, that it's just, it's gluttony, and so we all have to take responsibility ourselves, too. None of us are perfect, and learn, but begin to learn and study. There's a couple good books I wanted to recommend for the people that are listening. It's a book called The Great Book of Hemp by Roland Robinson, and there's another book about the health. It says The Hemp Nut Health and Cookbook, Ancient Food for a New Millennium by Richard Rose. And, yeah.
Beautiful, Joseph. Listen, we're about running out of time, so hopefully in the future we'll make more videos like this. We always welcome questions, concerns, and comments from our blessed audience. Blessed souls is done Zusya signing succinctly with Joseph Israel. Laham Shik Sababa.